Mr. Chief Agricultural Officer, to all the members of the Agricultural Department, to you distinguished ladies and gentlemen gathered here this morning, a pleasant good morning to you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. I grew up part of my life in Josiah with my grandfather, and I learned very early that good mornings were very important. Because if you didn't say good morning when you get home, you'd know what time it was. So, good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, let me say thanks to each and every one of you farmers who have come out and have expressed in what we have to offer here today. The Department of Agriculture and the folks of CIBC First Caribbean have so graciously and enthusiastically come up with this idea for a forum and seminar to assist in moving the agro-industry of the Virgin Islands forward. So I thank each party represented here for their time, efforts, and their zeal. You all have worked very hard at putting this together, and I'm sure the farmers, the business owners, and entrepreneurs are here bursting with creativity, ingenuity, and will soon be given appropriate tools to move forward in this great BVI heritage that was once very distinguished in our economy. I just mentioned a while ago that I knew a little bit about agriculture because my grandfather was one of the last remaining farmers in the BVI that had a sugarcane plantation in Josiah's Bay. So I came of age when they were still cutting sugarcane and bringing it down to Barker's Bay to be able to produce cane rum. Those days are long gone. I've shared this before many times also that my grandfather was one of those people who had livestock, and Mr. Brathwaite's father used to travel from all the way in Chalwell to buy stock for my grandfather. And so we have a tradition going way back. So sometimes when I listen to people talk about agriculture, I smile because I know a little bit about it. And I've said this several times before at the agricultural exhibition that we've arrived at a point in our history where we cannot continue to do things the way we used to do them. We've got to find new ways of doing old things. We can't, there's no way, you can plow those hills up there. It hasn't rained for the better part of this year. I think all of you are aware of that. Not only that, we still have not arrived at a place in the BVI where we are producing water at the level at which we can sustain the farmers. We can't even sustain our household. So we still are a long way off in terms of being able to produce water that will help to make agriculture sustainable. And so it's important that we bear that in mind, that here in our BVI, our local business banker from CIBC First Caribbean, Mr. Darren Vanderpool, who said recently, if you cannot measure it, you can maggot it. And today, Mr. Vanderpool, we will learn some of the tricks of the trade that will help us to grow our agriculture. We'll learn some ways to multiply, sustain the industry, and eventually strengthen and possibly propel our economy. So, Mr. Vanderpool, on behalf of the ministry and the government, to you and to your organization, we want to say thank you very much for your initiative. I think he deserves a round of applause. So my friends, even if self-sufficiency may yet be a distant prospect, the lesser goal of substantial increases in local output is itself a cause for celebration. We all are fully aware that the global economic crisis impacting our financial and tourist sectors, there's never been a more pressing need to diversify the BVI economy. The boost to the agriculture sector that is now being planned is perhaps a very significant example of diversification that the BVI so urgently need. There are benefits for the consumer in a form of a wider choice of fresh produce, benefits to the exchequer in the form of import substitution and export potential, and certainly there are benefits to the environment from the avoidance of environmentally damaged produce transportation. I think most of you also are fully aware that I have placed a tremendous amount of effort on improving the fishing industry. And I know I've come under criticism for ignoring agriculture by some people in the agricultural sector, but be that as it may, one has to stay focused on the goal at hand. And I think the things that we have done in fishing, we will certainly not only improve the fishing industry, but we will set a pace that we will be able to follow within the agricultural industry, that at least people are fully aware that we are working diligently to advance both of these industries. I can't say with all sincerity that I have the same level of enthusiasm for agriculture like I've demonstrated for fishing, but that doesn't mean that I don't have the interest in it and that I'm not going to put as much energy from the government's point of view to ensure that we make this industry work. So certainly many of you may remember earlier this year in February when I reminded persons how big pumpkin soup is in the BVI. You would remember that I said that this was something that we could build and brand. That is what this training is about. I believe that it is critical if we are going to advance agriculture that we look at specific food items and food crops, that we can use our ingenuity and produce it from the ground, and we know that we have a ready market. There's no reason in the BVI why every restaurant, every hotel shouldn't have pumpkin soup on their menu at all times. We should be in a position where every visitor to the BVI should be in a position to taste pumpkin soup, whether they like it or not. And we could call that our own. And pumpkins are easy to produce. What that means for you as a farmer is that you have a cash crop. Because in producing the pumpkins, the market is readily available. The market is there. It is going to be consumed. But the BVI itself, in its culinary pursuits, will be known for the pumpkin soup that we produce. And it is events like that will then help to lift whatever else we are producing. Because if people enjoy our pumpkin soup, then there will also be yearning for the other produce that you will be working so diligently to bring forward. So it's extremely important that we recognize how important it is to have a market, but that you produce also for the market. It doesn't make sense that you're producing crops that you can't get sold. And so I hope that Mr. Vanderpool here today will be able to show that while you are investing in agriculture, you also have to think in terms of the economics of it. So I might like producing pumpkins, I might like producing cucumbers or tomatoes, but with a view to ensuring that at the end of my production, there is some place for it to go and that I will be getting the return on my investment. And I show Mr. Vanderpool that is one of the things that you'll be concentrating diligently on. I also want to take this opportunity to say something about the greenhouses. I know that the question has been continually asked, well, what is the government doing about the greenhouses? Why are these monstrosities still sitting up at Parakeeta Bay and we haven't done anything with them? When I took over the ministry in November 2011, I discovered that there were some outstanding bills with respect to the greenhouses. I said before in the House of Assembly, there are some outstanding issues with intellectual property. What that means is that the designers of the greenhouses, they're going to claim ad infinitum. In other words, for the next 200 years, they'll be claiming money from government if we had proceeded along the same pathway. We have to sort those issues out if we are going to do anything about the greenhouses. And so I can stand here this morning and say we are that close to coming to an agreement, a final agreement with those individuals to whom government owe outstanding monies. Once that process is complete, then we can pick the ball up and then move the process forward. Here's the plan. The plan is that as soon as we've completed that process, and government then has a clear pathway to move forward, we are going to open up the greenhouses for private investment. This minister will not advise the government that the government should run the greenhouses. Nothing that I have read, no research that I'm privy to says that government can run the greenhouses. And so, as a part of the discussion here, Mr. Vanderpool, through your organization, one of the things I think is critical, critical, is to find ways on how the farmers will be able to invest in the greenhouses. Similar to how government have leased land to individuals at Paraquita Bay to do individual farming, that is sort of the principle that we'll have to adopt with the greenhouses. I've had any number of interests from various companies and individuals about what they can do for the greenhouses. But one of the things that I think is very clear is that the people who know about greenhouses say that just one of those buildings up there can produce enough food for the entire BVI and beyond. And so what we need is the expertise to be able to turn that into raw cash so that your investment moving forward will be able to realize a return on your investment. That is why it has taken so long. As somebody who spent their life practicing medicine, you know, somebody don't get pregnant and have a baby tomorrow. You go through a pregnancy, it takes time, and then there's a labor and a delivery. Well, that's where we are with this process with the greenhouses. And I'm deliberate and I'm determined to do it right. If it takes the next 6 months, so be it. But I won't do it for emotional purposes, and I won't do it to gain political points. I will do it and do it in the right way based on all the relevant information and expertise that is available to me and to the government. And so I want you to know that. And so as a part of your discussions here today, to keep in the focus that the greenhouses will become available in the not too distant future for the farmers and people who are interested in farming in this country. So I want to take this opportunity once again to thank you, Mr. Vanderpool, on behalf of your organization for your interest, your initiative, and your zeal in helping to spearhead this project, to thank the Department of Agriculture for their enthusiasm and forward thinking in what you're doing here today, and to wish all of you well. I thank you very much. Have a pleasant day.